All right, it is my second day back to running since the Boston Marathon. Yesterday was my first. I was supposed to run 6 miles. That was the plan. Went into it, and I got about a mile in, and all the cramps that I had been feeling during the race, and after, started coming back. The time I hit mile 1.5, that very familiar feeling was back in my hips and calves. I was like, dang, this sucks. I'm hurting again. So that wasn't great. But took a breather from that. Came back today. The goal is 6. I'm at 1.5 right now. And I'm already feeling that pain. So I'm thinking I might get 4 total today, but not 6. But that's just something you gotta deal with, especially after something as big as Boston. The kind of exertion. Dang, that was a big backfire. But especially with that kind of exertion and that kind of force on the body, that strain, you just gotta try and bounce back, recover, stretch, hydrate, fuel, get yourself back to the position where you can recover and improve, because it takes so much out of you. Alright, I feel like right now I'm back to square one. I'm back to where I was 3 years ago before I started training for marathons. I could do like 3 miles pretty quick, but anytime I started to get into like the 5 mile, 6 mile range, the next day I'd be dead. Barely be able to walk. So it's just a little bit of a curve. It's kind of hot. I'm wearing a long shirt. That way I don't get super burned. But there's a nice breeze, so that's helping. One thing I might have to do so that I'm ready for it next year, just in case, is heat train. So practice with layers, but not suffocating layers, so that I can get used to having a lot of heat and hydrate with it and get my body used to retaining the water. That way, going into Boston next year, even if it's like 60, 70, 80 degrees, I'm not dying at mile 19 again. And I started my gym workouts. I'm on day 2. Today is day 3. We're hitting legs. And we're gonna do core and stretching. I'm at 1.8. But some things I learned from Boston: you can never have too much hydration. One, not in a marathon. Too much at a time, yes, but there will always be more hydration that you can take into your body, more nutrition that can be helpful in the right quantities at the right times. That doesn't mean flood your body with water during a race or during training. It just means sometimes you're not going to feel like you need water. You're going to think, no, I feel good. I don't need a cup, and you'll pass the station. But you might regret that a couple miles down the road, because you're going to be like, dang, I may have just gotten the water station and gotten water, but now I'm starting to cramp. And it could have been that now you're missing just a little bit of water that you could have gotten at the saying you skipped. So train for that. Make sure you figure out how much your body can take during a race, during training, at a time. How much is suited for you.
Lap 2,
That's 2.
8:17.
There's the turnaround. The other thing is nutrition. Because I had 7 goos for the race and 1 spare. I up-chucked 1, and maybe the contents of a couple others, but they were already in my stomach. So we'll go with 1. So out of 7, I took 6. I actually kept down 6. So with those 6 goos, I had a good amount of caffeine, carbohydrates, electrolytes in my body. And that's good. But the other thing it could have been is that the fuel I was using, it could be that my body, even though it's meant to break down quickly, my body might not have been breaking it down fast enough, or maybe it was breaking it down too fast during the race. And so I was getting deficient of those materials during the run. And that could have been because of the heat as well. The heat could have been fatiguing my muscles, requiring them to expend more energy, requiring me to need to fuel them more. And what happens if you don't have more to give them? Well, they start to collapse, they start to cramp, they start to go into muscular fatigue, and you won't know that until you actually go through it, when you actually hit it. So, one thing I'm going to be working on is pushing myself to that wall over the next 6 months as I get ready for Marine Corps Marathon in October, and getting used to that familiar feeling of the wall, of pushing myself to 20, 21, 22 miles, getting the right nutrition, getting the requirements I need, the materials into my body, the fuel I need, in the right amounts. Making sure that my body's not breaking it down too fast, but it's breaking it down fast enough that I'm not overloading myself. Because during a marathon, I burn 100 to 200 calories every mile. So if I'm burning between 2,600 and 5,200 calories, maybe more, maybe less, in total, between my water intake and my fuel, I need to have at least half of that in reserve. So before the race, with what I'm eating, the night before, with my carb loading, and the days prior to the race, with my electrolytes, my hydration, making sure that I'm drinking enough in the coming days. Man, I'm tired. And making sure I'm also getting proper rest, proper sleep, because that can also be a big thing. So right now, my mouth feels kind of dry, and I feel like I could use some water, but I didn't bring some water with me. That was poor planning on my part. But I am almost to 3 miles, so I'm almost there. And there's the cramps. starting to feel the cramp in the back of my hamstring. The one thing I forced myself to do after the race, even though I was so tired and so in pain and sore, was I checked my body. And that's one thing that I would suggest all runners do, especially after a big event. Because after a big event, when you're expending your muscles, you're pushing yourself to the limit. Maybe you actually push yourself to and past the limit in certain areas. And your body makes up for the difference where your mental fortitude overextended itself past your physical capacity. And now you have blown veins, torn muscles, torn ligaments, sprains, and maybe even microfractures or spiral fractures because of how fast you were going or how hard you were hitting the ground, and your body isn't used to it. So that's one thing I made myself do, because I knew how in pain I was. I had to make sure that that pain wasn't being caused by an injury, and it was being caused by cramps and soreness. So I checked myself over. I checked my hamstrings because I've had problems with them before. I checked my calves, my hips, my quads. I checked everything. And I looked for bruising. I looked for swelling, displacement, just to make sure that there was nothing amiss. The things I found, nothing on my legs. Well, I found my toes. My toes are bad. They're really bad. And I'm gonna have to get them treated this week so that way I can go into recovery and I can get right back into my training. So right now I'm just doing like shorter, lower speed recovery runs until I get that all fixed. And then once my feet heal, then I'll be going into some harder runs and some longer distances again. Getting ready for the half marathon I have in the next month. But I gotta keep my legs fresh, gotta keep them ready, stretched out, flexible. Because the more flexible you are, the easier it is to push those muscles, those tendons, those ligaments to their limits. So, Boston Marathon 2025. I applied for it this September, as I would encourage all those that are hoping to.
Lap 3, 8:11.
There's mile 3. They're hoping to run it. Get ready now. If you're planning on running a race in the next few months, it's probably a good idea. It's hot, so it's going to be hard. But running a hot marathon with Boston potentially, after this year, I don't doubt it, potentially being hot could be good training. Could put your results closer to what you should be expecting. But the cutoff date to have a qualifier should be September 1st, and the sign-up window is between the first 2 weeks of September. So we got 5 months before it's all ready to go, set in stone. And once you apply, for Boston, you can still update your results. If you run a better race, say in December or October, and your time was just barely qualifying, like for my age group, if you ran a 2:59 for your qualifier, but you're just wanting to make sure, and then you run another one in, like, say October, say you went to Marine Corps Marathon and you ran a better one, you ran like a 2:53, you can submit new results in order to have them review your placement and your bib number, and they'll move your slot pending review. But I haven't run these a lot. These are I'm currently training in my Cloud Monster 2s. They're pretty nice. I got a black pair because I've trained in the white and blue ones. I've never had a black pair of them. They're pretty nice. I like them. Tops don't stain easy, so I can go through dirt and mud. They don't really leave much behind. So hopefully the problem doesn't lie in my shoes for why my feet are the way that they are, because that'd be an expensive fix. Either having to transfer to a different model or having to transfer to a different brand in general just because of the sizing on my foot. That would really suck. But if I gotta do it, I gotta do it. I'm willing to make those kind of changes if that's what's necessary. I was really hoping for a good showing at Boston this year. I was hoping to impress On Cloud and Gooder and potential sponsors, but you know, you can't always run the race that you want. You can't always win. You can't always have success. And sometimes even that is success. Sometimes even doing poorly is succeeding. Because it teaches you and it helps you to get better. Sometimes that's enough. The other thing I'm looking at right now is potentially getting my tonsils out. There's one thing I've noticed for a long time is I have a lot of mucus and saliva. I'm constantly spitting when I run. It's kind of gross. It's the way my body works. It's the way the body works. It's natural. But if I can do something about it, my brother got his tonsils out. My grandpa recommended that I get my tonsils out before he passed away because he had trouble with it and he knew that his were bad, but he never got them out. So that might be something that I look into. I've never had like an infection or anything with them, but I do notice that they are bothersome. So, who knows? Maybe that'll be a big fix as well for the comfort of my running. But it would be a long recovery. So, we'll see when I do it. coming up on the last like quarter of a mile. We got 0.2 to go. Like I said, this is just a 4-mile run. Ah. Sorry. That's another thing I'm probably gonna try doing more of is like stairs and hills, because I know I struggle with them. There's the end of it. Oh, no. I'm cheating. I almost cheated myself out of 2.2.
Lap 4, 824.
Almost cheated myself out of 0.02 miles. Can't do that. Can't cheat yourself. And my legs feel really tight. So I'm gonna stretch out and I'm gonna go get some food and head back to work because currently I'm on lunch. So I've got time crunches to make. But I'm gonna try and be posting more about my training and my progression and how it's all going, getting ready for next year's Boston and Marine Corps Marathon. Right now, the first thing on the docket is the Marine Corps Historic Half on May 19th. I don't think I'm gonna be getting anything like a 115, 114 or anything, but I think I could get 116, maybe 117, and I'll be okay with that. Because I'm just trying to bounce back after Boston. And that's what the first thing is, taking the first couple steps forward on improvement and recovery. So just gotta keep on moving. Till next time. See you later.